it's one of those things. I think just because that was right for that person doesn't mean it was right for you. So I just commend you on, going for it. Really.
Thank you so much. And same to you because, a lot of people look at that job like working in, Hall of Fame and being like, "Oh, that's a dream job," exactly like you said, and like such a achievement to work there. People were probably like, "Why is he leaving that? Why does he not want to do that anymore?" and like questioning your decisions. But the thing is, as people, we're meant to evolve. So why aren't we meant to evolve with our careers? Why are we stuck working in the same job, stuck working for the same boss? When you could evolve and do something different. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who want to do that, but maybe they shouldn't judge people who want to do something different. Like, I don't see anything wrong with it, but don't be judging other people just because they don't want to live the same life you want to live.
Join me, Jeremy Swick, on Into the Unknown, a podcast that delves into the personal journeys, stories, and experiences of individuals across diverse professions. As a historian by trade, I firmly believe that our personal histories shape our present and offer valuable insights into our paths ahead. With that being said, let's get into it. On this episode of Into the Unknown, I am joined with a special guest, Allie Langan. How you doing, Allie?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm absolutely excited to talk today.
I am so excited to chat. I know you were telling me a little bit that you're from like the Midwest. I'm from Jersey, so two different worlds, but I'm really excited to sit down and get to know you.
One of the things I appreciated, because it's always fun to have that little banter before the show, you noticed that I had a lot of collectibles behind me. Can you tell me something you might have collected back in the day?
So my parents are both in like corporate. My mom traveled a lot for work. So every time she went on a work trip, she'd bring me back a snow globe. So something that people don't really know a lot about me is that I had a big snow globe collection. Like I had a snow globe from Switzerland, I had one from like Las Vegas, I had one from like Ireland. I had a ton of snow globes and I kept them on a shelf in my room. So that was like my little version of having collectibles.
It's always fun. It's so funny what people end up collecting. And as we talked earlier, it's funny what it changes over the time. You mentioned you collect a lot of things still, right?
I still collect things. It's upgraded. So it changed from like snow globes. I've always been into fashion. I used to work at the Real Real. So now I have like a collection of handbags. I have a collection of shoes. I'm really big into jackets too because I love thrifting. So nothing makes me more excited than finding a good thrift find, whether it be a really good bag or a pair of shoes or a jacket. And I've kind of built up like quite the collection now.
So, from your thrifting adventures, do you have any memorable thing, maybe the most expensive thing you've ever found, or one of the coolest things you've ever found?
So I'm actually just am posting pictures on my Instagram of this. I had like a whole photo shoot in this recently. I thrifted a fox fur coat and it is so cool. There's like a bunch of different colors in it. It's real fox fur. Like I don't always agree with buying fur, but the thing is with thrifting, it's gonna wind up in a landfill if someone doesn't buy it anyways. But it's so cool. I actually am going to be posting the pictures this weekend, so I'm super excited. I saw all of them and it's just like so cool. It looks almost like Game of Thrones like. Like that's how I would explain it.
It's so exciting. I thrift a lot too, and it's so exciting when you find that find, and it's almost like you feel like no one else knows about it, and you try to get it as quickly as you can.
It's like a treasure hunt and then you find something and you're like, "Oh my God, I struck gold, like eureka, like I want this exact item." And it's the best because it's something original and unique. Like I feel like now with fashion, like everything is just so like plastic, like the clothes and stuff and mass produced and everything looks the same. So when you thrift and you find something unique, I mean, you absolutely love it. I'm sure you could probably say this same thing about like your collectibles. Like the vintage ones are probably so much cooler than the ones that have come out today.
Oh, 100%. It's just so fun. I thrift a lot for vintage sports clothing. And so when I get that starter jacket or that 90s era Packer jersey or something like that, I get so excited. And it's one of those things where, of course, you can buy the reproductions now, but it's just not the same. And it's, again, one of those really exciting things.
It's not the same, like, quality and material, like, either. I find, like, the older items, they use, like, better quality, better material, but what would be, like, your favorite thrifting find?
That's a great question. I would have to say because I resell a lot of stuff too. It was these old leather bound Louis L'Amour, who I didn't know much about him, but I knew he was a Western writer, and I remembered that from my grandfather back in the day, always reading his westerns. This was a beautifully bound set, probably about 20 books at a Goodwill. I bought them all and sold them for several $1,000s. And it was just that weird little connection of my grandpa reading the paperbacks back in the day, remembering that Louis L'Amour was someone of value, especially if you read old westerns. So without even looking, I think I didn't have phone service at the Goodwill, so I just got them on a whim. And of course, I get back to my house in Atlanta and obviously start pricing them out, and I realize I kind of struck gold. I end up actually selling them to a huge collector out in Australia who paid the duties, paid the shipping, paid everything. He was so excited because of then he got to nerd out to me on how rare this actual find of these specific books were. So that's one of those things that was always really, really exciting, kind of stuck out in my mind.
That's, like, so cool too, to also, like, make somebody's day who's, like, super into that.
So, I like to kick off the show and talk about the importance of networking. One of the
Yeah.
ways we're connected is social media. It's one of those absolutely amazing things that I would argue.
I feel like networking is so important. And I think the best networking is when you don't even realize you're networking, right? So when you join something that you love and that other people love, and you're sharing that joined, common, shared interest of something you both love to do. So I joined, this is so funny. I joined on a whim this Facebook group for podcasters because I want to learn how to become a better podcaster, right? So what better way to become a better podcaster than ask people that are really good at doing it and join other people. So I joined it. I was just like, hey, like, I'm a new podcaster. Like, here's my podcast. Like, if anyone has any tips. And like, I got so much support. Like, all these people started commenting and they're like, hey, if you want to be a guest, or hey, maybe this is better for your audio. And that made me feel so good because it's scary to try new things. And it feels better when you're talking to people who have been doing it for a while and really want to help you grow and get better at it.
I couldn't agree more, Allie. I think it's so important for groups like that when you're talking and people are giving ideas, and then you look at. I love it because it's no matter how big of a fish you might feel or small of a fish you might feel in the pond, there's always going to be someone bigger and there's always going to be someone new. And so I look at some of these people that are five, six, 1,000 episodes in, and it's little corrections or little adjustments you can make just by them making that one post, and it kind of, oh, this is what I should do with my audio, or this is how I should maybe shoot my video. It's so helpful to be in groups like that.
It's like little tweaks that really make the difference, especially with podcasting. It can be the simplest thing as like improving your audio, improving your background, improving even like sometimes I find this being from Jersey, I tend to talk very fast, like slowing down, talking a little bit slower too. Even just like small things like that really make the difference with the podcast.
I couldn't agree more. And of course, with any group, there's also, I always tell people there is that spam, or there's people that say hi, and I'm like, hi back, but are you trying to be a guest? Are you trying to, am I going to be your guest? And so I always say, I take everything with a grain of salt, but when you find people like yourself, it gets really exciting to talk and, help them share their message.
Yeah, and it's just like important. It's like so nice too. In college, I was actually in a sorority, so I was like in like a group, right, with like similar kind of people all working towards one thing. But I feel like when you leave college, if you're in a group like that, you're on a sports team or you're doing something like that, you lose that a little bit, right? Once you go into the real world, like okay, you have like your coworkers, right? You're with them, but like you're just at the same job and like outside of that, it's hard to find another group of people where you're all doing the same thing and really enjoying it.
I couldn't agree more. I always encourage people, adults, I guess we are now, to find something they enjoy. I've been playing rugby the last 16 years, so I'm fortunate. I've been playing, it's taken me all over the country, really all over the world. But it's one of those things where I have instant 40 teammates, which, half of them become friends, even more become, even closer, become real close friends. But it's so nice to have that kind of community and support, which I realize a lot of people you lose and leave once they leave college or even high school sometimes.
100%. Like even in high school, I played soccer, so very similar to being like on a sports team. Rugby, though, I give you props. That is a tough sport. Like I don't know if I could do that. Um, but I was on the soccer team, so when I went to college, I was like, kind of looking for that sense of being in a group and being around people, and working towards a common goal. So that's why I joined a sorority. But then when I left college, I was like, oh my God, I'm lost again. I kind of want like a group of people to do stuff with. And being in content creation and doing your own podcast, it can get sometimes lonely, right? Because you're sitting there, if you're editing it, you're sitting there by yourself. If you don't have guests on, you're just talking to a camera, which is tough. So it's nice to like meet other people and have different guests come on with like different perspectives. They're from different parts of the country. Like you were saying before, like I've never been ice fishing. Like I think that is like the coolest thing ever. The only ice fishing I ever did was on Club Penguin back in the day. So
Club Penguin, a true classic.
I loved my Club Penguin. I was a fashionista on there too. I had all the different wigs, all the different outfits. My igloo was decked out. Okay. It was slaying.
Allie, I can completely believe that. I want to know a little bit more about you. That comic book issue number one, that origin story. Who's Allie?
So I grew up in a town called Middletown, New Jersey. It's in Monmouth County. So we joke around, we call it Bruce Springsteen country because he's from around the area too. So I grew up in Middletown. I went to Catholic school my whole life, which is weird because I curse a lot now. So it's like, don't know why I did that. I went to Catholic middle school. I went to Holy Cross. And then I went to Red Bank Catholic. So a lot of different influencers have come out of RBC. It's kind of like a breeding ground for that kind of area. So I went to RBC, loved it. And then from RBC, I went to Quinnipiac, which is in Connecticut. We have a great hockey team, fire hockey team, and we're known for polling. Went there for 4 years. Then I decided to get my MBA. So I was in the 4+1 program. So I did some MBA classes at Quinnipiac. Then I went from Quinnipiac to Monmouth because I actually got a scholarship. So I went back home, went to Monmouth University, got my MBA. And the same week I got my MBA, I started law school at New York Law School. I was there for a little bit, didn't love it, decided to leave, worked in tech sales. Then I didn't really like tech sales. So I was like, what do I do next? Then I worked for a marketing company and moved up to Hoboken, where I am now. And then I got laid off the day I signed my lease. Really, really cool stuff. Then I was like, well, what do I do now? I started running my own dog walking business, which I still run to this day, dog walking and dog sitting. And then I was looking for a different job, started working for the Real Real because I love fashion, worked there for a bit, moved to New York City, dealt with the slumlord situation beginning of last year, got a different job, got laid off from that job, and then my boyfriend broke up with me. But I'm the type of person who turns lemons into lemonade. So last year was a big year for me in terms of growth with content creation. So I threw myself into that and threw myself into running my business. And then I started my podcast at the end of the year, and I'm honestly so thankful for all of it. And I really turned things around. So I'm happy about it. I got no complaints.
Allie, I love that. I think it's one of those things, as you mentioned, turning lemons into lemonade, because as I'm sure you've realized, life gets tough and it comes at you fast. I think sometimes faster than any of us can actually imagine.
It comes at you almost like a fastball in baseball or like a curveball sometimes. Like you don't see it coming and then you're the batter, right? And it gets so close to you that you're like, "Oh my God, how do I hit the ball and not strike out?" But I do feel like life can come at you crazy. It's all with how you handle it. And I think being calm is a good way to do it. Was I calm in that situation? No, probably not. But it's good to learn from stuff like that. So in the future, when something gets thrown at you, you're like, okay, and you know how to handle it, and make the best out of a bad situation, which is exactly what I did.
I think it's one of those experiences, and it's not what everyone does. Is you had set yourself up for success. You had planned to go to law school, and I'm sure you told a lot of people, or a lot of people knew that's kind of your path. When you decided that wasn't your path, what was that experience like?
It's so hard because a lot of people still like the traditional path, right? Working a corporate job, going, being a professional, whether it's a lawyer or a doctor, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that or, slating those people or being like shitting on them. Like that's not what I'm doing. But I'm just saying that there's other paths you could take. Like when I went to law school, I wasn't happy at law school. Like I was working during the day as a law clerk and then going to night school in New York City. So I was commuting all the way from Monmouth County, which is like an hour and a half train ride. And it got to the point where I wasn't happy and I was almost confused, right? Because I wanted to do that since I was 18 years old. I'm like, this is all I ever wanted was to go to law school and be an attorney. And to have that realization that like it wasn't for me was such almost like cold water being thrown on me, like in my face. I'm like, wait, what? I was like, "Well, what can I do?" I was like, "All right, well, I got an MBA. I guess I'll, try to go into business a different way." And the only job I could get when I got out of law school was in sales. I was unemployed for 8 months, applying to marketing positions, applying to things I was qualified for, and like was like, no, no, no. Finally, the tech company I worked there, but I just like didn't love it. You know what I mean? I didn't love it. But there's a lot of people still to this day that will judge me for not taking a traditional route. And to that I say, do what makes you happy, right? You can't let other people dictate what you want to do with your life. Like if you like something and you're good at it and you can monetize it, do it, right? Like don't listen to other people because then you might wind up doing something just to please all those other people. And what type of life is that, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think so much of that is doing what makes you happy, and also the same reality. It's you need money. Unfortunately, we need
Right.
money to survive. But I think there are so many different avenues that people a lot of times do that corporate route or do that kind of the next log. And I'll be honest, it's the next logical step. You go get a good job, then you get a promotion, and then you become higher up in that company or in that field or that career. I laugh because I'm in my third career. My background's education. I ended up spending a decade in museums, and I'll be honest, I loved every second of the museums. And eventually, it got to the point where I needed to, again, I think step title of the podcast, step into the unknown, and kind of make that leap. But it was one of those things where I'm sure there are people scratching their heads. As we talked about a little bit earlier, I was the historian and curator at the College Football Hall of Fame. That was kind of like a lifetime career aspiration job, and I got it when I was 25. And I think for me personally, that scared me a little bit. It was like, well, I could literally do this till I retire. And I think that kind of heightened up my desire to kind of see what else was next or kind of the next step. But it's one of those things, I think just because that was right for that person doesn't mean it was right for you. So I just commend you on, going for it really.
Thank you so much. And same to you because, a lot of people look at that job like working in, Hall of Fame and being like, "Oh, that's a dream job," exactly like you said, and like such a achievement to work there. People were probably like, "Why is he leaving that? Why does he not want to do that anymore?" and like questioning your decisions. But the thing is, as people, we're meant to evolve. So why aren't we meant to evolve with our careers? Why are we stuck working in the same job, stuck working for the same boss? When you could evolve and do something different. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who want to do that, but maybe they shouldn't judge people who want to do something different. Like, I don't see anything wrong with it, but don't be judging other people just because they don't want to live the same life you want to live.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's one of those things where I'll be honest, I'm very appreciative of my friends and my family and close group of my circle because they've really truly supported me. I have to laugh about my parents because when I told them I was going to quit the museum job I had been at and was going to go all in on my company, they're like, "All right, well, it's about time. We've been waiting for this." But it's one of those kind of I would always call it like a track record of success. Now, if I would have said something like that in high school, they probably would have looked at me, funny. I had terrible grades. I barely got into college. Ended up earning an undergrad and a master's. But it was through those kind of levels of success that at this point, I can pretty much say anything, and most of my friends will laugh and then support me. So I do appreciate that about my friends and family.
That's how my friends are too, and my family. My mom, definitely really big supporter. She just wants to see me be happy. She's seen me work so many jobs that I have just hated. Like I've done it to pay the bills, right? Which is relatable. That's why a lot of people do their jobs. They're not really passionate about it, but they're like, well, I need to keep the lights on. I need to pay the bills. I need to put food on the table. And that's why they'll take a job like that. But same thing, my friends too. They're like, oh God, what is Allie doing now? And they love that I've started my own podcast and that I've really gone outside of the norm and colored outside the lines, right? They like that about me and they're like, we like that you're taking a non-traditional kind of route. But again, there's always people that are going to judge. You always have like I call it the hometown haters. It's like the three people from high school that like hated you and then like hate stalk you. Like it's like those people.
Oh yeah, they exist. I'm thankful. I don't think I've heard from them in many years, or they reach out in a very friendly tone, and that always makes me laugh as well.
I totally get that more than you know. I like they reach out and I'm like, "Oh God, here we go with them."
So, Ellie, it's one thing to talk about wanting to start a podcast. And as you've seen in the groups, and I'm sure just watching, people launch one episode, or sometimes they buy all the gear, buy all the equipment. And then I realize it's the craziest thing to me personally. Then they never launch an episode. What was the tipping point to make you actually go for it?
It's a great question. So I have had friends in the past that have like wanted to do podcasts with me, which is great, but it's also tough to coordinate your schedule around somebody else's schedule. Like if I have time to sit down and film, that person might not have the time. And then you have to take the time to set up the lighting and the camera and to make sure the mics are working with the audio. There's a lot that goes into it. I think what really was a tipping point for me with my podcast, I was like, I want to sit down and I want to do this. I was like, if not now, when? When am I going to do this? Right? A year from now, 2 years from now, what difference is that really going to make? It's not going to make any difference. You have to start somewhere when you're starting a project or doing something new or really stepping outside your comfort zone. And while my podcast might not be perfect, right? I'm not the great editor, right? There's like coughing sometimes in my podcast and like the first episode there was like random stuff in the background, but that means I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. I'm not a robot. I tried my best and I'm just going to keep trying to improve the podcast. And every week I love to get on because I have people also write it on the Google Forms. I love to answer their questions and connect and talk with them. Because what I like about my podcast is I'm not only illuminating my voice, I'm illuminating the voices of other people who write in on write in on the form, the Google form.
So, Allie, tell me a little bit more about your podcast. What is it and where can people find it?
So my podcast is According to Allie. It is on Spotify and YouTube.
What do people do to contact you or write in?
So to write in, I have Google Forms, which are linked in the bio, in Instagram for According to Allie, which you can find just through my Instagram. I link everything together. And to write in, you just write it on the Google form. You can ask Allie anything, which is where you ask me something, a question about myself that you may have, or ask Allie advice, which is where you ask me for advice about a situation. And on the form, I also say how blunt you want me to be, how honest you want me to be about the advice. You guys could ask me about any type of situation, and it's completely anonymous, so I don't know who is who with writing stuff in. So nobody's outed. There's no names involved. Like I genuinely don't know who's writing stuff in.
Allie, I was going to ask you because I appreciate that. I watched some of your trailers and I've listened to some episodes, and I'm like, you could go really deep on some of these questions. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that you do have that disclaimer, and I'm sure that's one of those things, as we talked about before filming this podcast. For me, it's not one of those gotcha. So I've had people say, things, and hey, I'd rather not say that, and then I've had people who feel fully comfortable finally talking about that specific part or that chapter of their life, which is, also interesting.
It's so interesting because again, I agree with you. There's some people who they'll be like, I can't talk about this, 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 and this. And then there's other people who are like, well, there's not really anything off the table. And then, so it's like tough. And I don't like the gotcha moments because you're just catching somebody off guard. You're not really catching their authentic self. I think what podcasts are and why people started them is they wanted to really represent their authentic self and also connect with their audience and answer their questions and make it more of like a group setting. I think that's why podcasts really began.
So, Ellie, title of the podcast, Into the Unknown. What are you working on now? I know we touched the base a little bit, but besides the podcast, what else do you have going on?
I'm working on a few other little projects in the works. Working on some content creation stuff, which should be super exciting that you guys are going to see me posting. And I'm actually going on another podcast on Friday, which is exciting too. So yeah, working on a lot of stuff like that. And I'm working on building my TikTok. I'm trying so hard to get into the creator fund. I'm at like 8,000. I've been going on like TikTok live and battling people. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I'm
Um,
very familiar with TikTok Live.
okay, because my followers, they're like, Emily, go on and battle. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? What is a battle? Like, what is a TikTok battle? Like, I had no idea what it was. And they were like, you should do it. So they got me into battling. I was on a 26 win streak.
Ooh, that's pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive because you'll have some random big name creator come out of nowhere and they'll throw 100,000 points at you.
No, it was wild. Like we were on a 26 win streak, and then one of my followers came up with the term "A Lang Gang," and that's what they all call themselves. Which I think is really cute. But they'll like DM me and then be like, "When are you going live tonight? We want to sit and talk to you." And it's like it's so heartwarming to me to know that there's people out there that just want to see me go sit on TikTok live and talk to them. Like they're excited to see me. Which is cool. I never really had that happen before. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of new to me. But I do really enjoy it. Like it's fun.
Well, Ellie, as we talked about to start out the show, it's so important to network and really build that community, not just for your podcast, but as we talked about, a lot of people in this world don't have the opportunity to even go to school to be part of teams or sororities or fraternities or teams. But I think it's one of those things that's really cool about the internet now is you can find actual genuine friends and connections.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like I'm so lucky and fortunate that I was like able to go to school, able to be in a sorority. Like I'm very, very grateful and lucky for that. But it is hard for people who like didn't go to school to connect with people, right? Because in school you're like on a schedule, right? You're on like a set schedule. You see people every day. It's a little bit easier to connect with people, but the internet just makes it so much more possible to connect with people from all around the world too. Like I have followers from Australia, which is insane. I had a follower from like Ireland. So the internet just gives you so much more like power to connect with people from different backgrounds, people who might not even speak the same language as you that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to do.
Ellie, I couldn't agree more. So if people want to start following you, where can they find you on social media?
You guys can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, at Ali Langan, and my podcast at According to Ali is on YouTube and Spotify.
We will make sure to link all that in the show notes. Ellie, I want to thank you again for talking with me today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for being so warm and welcoming in the Facebook group. I was actually so nervous to make that post, so it really does mean the world.
We'll talk soon.
All right, talk soon. Bye.
That was another fun episode of Into the Unknown. I truly appreciate you taking the time to listen. And if it provides you any value or entertainment, I would love if you shared it with others, liked, subscribed, and really just help the podcast grow. Again, tell a friend, tell a foe, just anyone who might enjoy hearing some stories of people's own journeys and what got them to where they are today. Till next time.